cloud. There we go. So we should be recording both screens. For anyone who's watching this recording is like, what on earth's going on? We basically just started the webinar and people couldn't turn their video on due to a slight technical problem, but now we have everyone on video. Again, I'm just going to leave it like 1 or 2 minutes to allow people to rejoin the webinar. I'm just going to re-go through the intentions of this webinar for anyone who's watching the recording, and then we will get rocking and rolling. Quick little bit of housekeeping. Alex, as if you were just on the previous webinar, Alex Franklin is going to be co-hosting and looking after everyone on the call. Say hi, Alex.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you very much. So basically, Alex is in the team here at Scrap the 9 to 5. A lot of you guys, if you're in our community already, you already know her. You already know how much of a hero she is in terms of looking after the community. So Alex is, her intention is to do the same thing on this webinar and look after everybody on the call. Now, quick bit of housekeeping before we do start, and I'll, as I say, re-go through the things that I just covered on the first edition of this webinar that didn't work. We have down the bottom of Zoom, we have a chat button, and we also have a Q&A button. Now, Alex will be monitoring chat and Q&A, and this webinar is not so much going to be a Q&A webinar like we often do within our community. We have a set structure to follow. We've got a few things that are going to go through, and we're going to keep this as powerful and specific and relevant as possible. But if you do have any questions specifically relating to what we're talking about, maybe you want something clarified, maybe you missed something, or just want to dive into something a bit more, keep it on topic. But if you type your question in Q&A, right, so stick to Q&A, which is on the left side of the bottom, and Alex will monitor that. And Alex, if there's anything that you feel is particularly relevant, please just stop me, I'll clarify, and then we'll move on. All right, thank you very much. For any general chit chat and anything like that, feel free to use the chat down below. But if you type questions in chat, we're probably going to miss it. There's going to be quite a few people on this call. So yeah, keep the questions in Q&A. Just to clarify as well, the people who are joining us on the panel are all involved in some way or another in our online business community. And we're working very closely with a lot of the people on the panel at the moment to help them with their online businesses. And to re-clarify for everyone who's watching this recording, this webinar is for people who are actively building a business or are thinking about building a business, and we are specifically focusing on exactly how to speak to your customer avatar from a place of compassion and understanding in the situation that we're all in at the moment with coronavirus, COVID-19, because it is a very difficult time. And it's a very fine line between speaking into somebody's reality with the right intention and speaking in somebody's reality with the wrong intention. And that's what we're going to cover on this webinar. And after this webinar, my intention is for every single person to have a more concrete understanding of what that actually looks like, what it sounds like, and how it feels to actually come at it from this space, so that you can build a business from a place of service, from a place of value. And that's, again, regardless of whether you already have a business or whether you're thinking of starting to build a business. This is the foundation, right? This is where we've got to focus our efforts if we're going to, build a successful business, because at the end of the day, it's all about the people we're looking to serve. You've got to get your intention right. You've got to be focused on serving and helping, because the energy that we're putting out is going to largely influence how we come across. And it's not as black and white as saying, if you say this, then you're fine. If you don't say this, then you're fine. It's not that simple. It's more about how you're showing up with the message, how you're delivering it, your tone, your body language, and all of those things. Unless you spent years working on this kind of stuff already, your tone, your body language, your delivery, the energy and the intention that you're putting out is all going to be very much subconscious, and it comes from doing it from the right place, with the right intention and with the right energy. If we're not focused on that, it's going to show. It's going to come across. So we have to get that right. Okay. So we also have on the call Justin Wolf. Justin Wolfe, for any of you who don't know him, is a long-standing online business entrepreneur, built multiple companies, built companies in the 2008 financial crisis. So safe to say has good experience of navigating difficult times in business and showing up with the right intention. So Justin is going to share a few perspectives here and there wherever relevant during the call. Wolf, if you have something to add, please feel free to sparingly stop me and just chime in here and there, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Dan. Thank you for having me. And you know how this goes. If I jump out and share, it's going to be the Waffle Train. We're going to go on and on. I love what you said. It's definitely going to give you the space to kick this off. But just to echo the intention, right? You get the core right, then what leads from that is going to come out the right way. And there's a couple things that I do want to share, but I'll wait for the right time in terms of, if you're in online business, it's like how, what do you do? What is the right way? And a good place to start is also what not to do, right? And as long as you get that intention right, sure, could there be a need for people to think differently right now? Yeah, there really can be. Is this a time where people are going to challenge like where they're at, and some people don't even have a choice? Like that's the tragedy in all this, is that people are being put in a situation where, businesses are closing, jobs are being lost, and the last thing you want to do is say, oh well, because of all this, you're going to thrive over here, or because of all this, people are going to be wanting more of this over here. That's probably the biggest don't do out there. And it's by you just being in this space organically, that is going to work itself out. But I think when you get down to the individual, you get down to the message of, if somebody is at a point in their life where they feel that they want to make that change, how can we be a stand for them? How can we cultivate them in that space? We could come up with all these facts and figures on how online business may thrive. You know what? Yeah, it's definitely plausible. I don't think any of us have a crystal ball to say that this is definitely going to happen. I was reading a few articles today on, online searches, and, right now at the start of this, people are just worried. They're probably focused more on what's happening out there and, all the change that's going on. And survival, right? Everyone's gearing towards that primal instinct of survival right now, but that will dissipate over time. But this is going to be around for quite some time. What we're experiencing right now, it's not going to go away until there's probably pharmaceutical intervention. So I'll pause right now, buddy. Thank you for having me. I'll pass this back to you. Excited for the webinar.
Thanks, mate.
Appreciate you, bud. And yeah, absolutely spot on. I think you touched on this in your share there, mate, but I think a lot of people might be thinking, or might be watching this thinking, well, how does this apply to me if I don't have my own product idea? I don't have a business. I don't have a service. I'm not really an expert in anything. And we're going to cover that, because what you'll realize a lot of the time, if you are in that space where you're thinking of going down this path and you're starting to shift your thinking in how can I provide value? How can I help people? What happens is you realize that, having a product, having a service, believe it or not, is actually not the most important thing. Because in online business, there's plenty of ways to leverage other companies' products and services to provide value in ways that is not about, you coming up with the next $1 billion idea or something like that. We don't need to do that. We just need to get our intention in the right place. So that's really what we're going to dive into now. And I truly believe as well, I think the era that we're going into, the next decade or so, that I think we're going to see some real shifts in the type of businesses that are not just surviving, but are thriving. And I think the businesses that are really going to come through this difficult time are going to be the ones that are focused very much on solving people's pains or problems, on providing value in areas that can really make a difference in people's lives. With connectivity, with the internet, with the world that we live in nowadays, there's so many options for people that the old ways of doing business, which I'm going to touch more into in a second, just doesn't really apply anymore. It's got to be about the value side of things. So, little caveat, I will say that the word value and intention is probably going to be said about 10 billion times throughout this call. Reason being is I just want to hammer home how utterly crucial this is. So, when we start our business, right? So let's say we're in this difficult time right now ourselves, and let's say that we're coming into this space of thinking, like, you know, I've got my problems that are going on in my life. I've got things that I want to solve, and maybe you're thinking or you're thinking about starting a business, and that might be the solution, right, or a potential solution for where you're at right now. Now, a lot of the time when we start a business, in fact, probably almost all the time, and I can say this from personal experience, when we first start a business, it's all about us, right? Generally. So when I first started, I came from corporate software sales, and for me, it was about not being happy, not being fulfilled in my current career path, and wanting something more, kind of waking up one day and realizing that there must be more to life than this, that I was trading my time for money, building somebody else's dreams instead of my own. And so when I started my business, it was very much for my own reasons. You know, I wanted the freedom, I wanted to travel, I wanted to take back control of my life, and ultimately I wanted to be working for myself instead of someone else. I wanted to be building my own dreams. But there was a shift that had to happen, and I know Wolf had a similar shift as well in his journey in the early stages, but there's a shift that has to happen where we stop making it all about us and we start making it all about everyone else. And until that shift happens, we're not going to build a long-standing, long-term business that will ultimately thrive and really deliver value to help people. Because as long as we're in our own heads, there's a disconnect between us and what really matters. And what really matters is the people that we're building the business for. Because it's not a bad thing to be starting a business because you want to protect yourself, because you want to protect your family, because you want to earn additional income in these uncertain times and so on. It's not about making that wrong. That's not wrong. What we're saying here is the only way to really get those things is to stop making that the primary focus. That's not why we're doing what we're doing. Why we're doing what we're doing is so much bigger than that. You've got to make the focus about helping others, because what others eventually, right? If we're building a business that is focused on helping others, then if we're helping someone solve their pains and problems, people will want to align themselves with our business because it improves their lives in some way. It makes their life better in some way. Because ultimately your customer, right? They're going to buy from you because they believe in some way that you can help them move from where they are to where they want to get to. So in other words, they believe that you can help them solve their pains, their problems, their fears, their challenges, their frustrations, and so on. We've got to remember this, because a lot of expert sources, for example, will say that a business exists to make a profit. Well, let's think about that for a second. Your business cannot exist without cash flow, and cash flow cannot exist unless we're acquiring and keeping customers. And we will not acquire and keep customers without making everything we do about helping our customers move from where they are to where they want to get to. Again, in other words, the customer has to believe that we can help them solve their pains and problems and frustrations and fears and challenges. Because your customer doesn't care what you want. Your customer cares about their world, doesn't care about your world. They don't care about why you're starting your business. It's irrelevant.
Let me jump out here for a minute.
Yeah, of course, mate. Please.
And this is really important. I read in the comments, like, I'm so overwhelmed by what's going on right now. Totally get it, right? And in this state of like panic or survival, if that's the state we choose to be in, we're going to go inward. We're going to focus a lot on ourselves, right? And then you're going to, what you focus on will expand that uncertainty. So it's going to start growing. And that's really not the best place to be in. It's not that, hey, we're all going to go through it. Everyone on this webinar is going to have those moments. It's like this cyclical ebb and flow type of thought process. But when you get in that space and you can see, okay, where is this where can I have this bring me? And I'll tie this to what you're talking about, Dan. Focusing on others. And, we do business because we solve people's problems, and if I've gone into business to make money, to satisfy my own interests, and you know what, it worked. It never sustained. It never had that lasting impact that I wanted. And it was probably questionable in terms of, was that the best practice back in the day to feel good about what you're doing? And there is a silver lining here, and make no mistake about it. If you feel overwhelmed, that means like all the energy is going inward. So you need an outlet. And there's no better outlet to truly serve others in your business where, okay, add value. If somebody is in this place where they're in flux, or if they're in change, give them value. If they're in this consideration or thought process about making an online business. So it goes down to like consciousness, right? And when you're in this state of ego or pride, it's like, you're focused on yourself. You're going to manipulate people, or you're going to like brag about yourself. So you're going to be in this state of around self and trying to influence others in that space. That's like a really, I could call it the shadow, the fearful consciousness in your intention, right? But the gift in all that is because, we're people. We learn probably when you're younger, with your mom, your dad, you start to get in these conversations about, I could tell mom this, I can get away with that, with this. And you're learning that in your identity. But as you go through life, it teaches you that, okay, it's probably really not the best way to show up in your communication. Like nobody really cares, like you said, Dan, about yourself or your problems. They care about their own. But what that's trying to teach you is, somebody also wrote here, Benjamin, I love it. It is about marketing from the heart. It's about heart-centered marketing, right? It's about empathy and compassion, right? And it's about really understanding, if you were on that side, a good way to always go about this is, what if I was on the other side and I was up against all this? What would I want to see? How would I want to be communicated to? What would I need to discern properly? And if you're targeting somebody who's in this consideration about a business, then talk about the ups, the downs, the pros, the cons, what to be aware of, what to actually consider. Where is the silver lining? What's not guaranteed? And like put it into full context, right? Because I am a firm believer that in these times, there's only one place you're going to get security, right? It's focusing inward. And I know that may, like you just told me to focus outward, but it's focusing on your own skills, right? Your own consciousness, your own intention, your own ability to grow. And the byproduct of that is, in business, when you communicate, you make it about others, you'll flourish. And even if you think about the most influential people in the history of this planet, and you get the religious figures, if they're Gandhis, Jesus Christ's, Buddhas, and I always say this, and Power vs. Force talks about this. It's a book, I forget who wrote it. I'm sure some of you may have even read it on this line. Those are the most influential people in human history. When they're making it, it's almost like their own life is sacrificed as for the greater good. And I'm not saying this is what you have to be in your marketing or in your business to succeed. I'm not ready for that. I want to be that conscious, but I don't know if I'm ready for it yet. And it's like, but there's something to learn there, right? And when you have that thread and that energy in your marketing, in your ads, it's like the difference would be, hey, it's like, do you want to know how to make money in this crisis? More people are going to be looking for a business and you can benefit from it. That's like, no, because you're pegging a conversation onto what's not going to create success. The principles of success aren't going to change because of what's going on here. And that type of predatory marketing, it's a problem, right? You're going to have pushback, not just from your customers, not just, who even knows from a regulatory standpoint, like what would happen if you're approaching the market that way? Stay away from that type of strategy. If you have a level of compassion and understanding about who you're serving, and it's like, hey, here's what we're all going through, here's what I would need to know, and moving forward. And those who resonate with that message, they're the ones who are ready. those are the ones who are going to put their hand up and say, you know what? I do see that right now more than ever is where I do need a diversification of skills. I do need to reskill myself. I really need to think about how could I not be affected by something like this, and there are industries that won't be impacted as much as others, right? That's a fact. And that could be product driven, service driven. And I think if you can add that type of understanding in anything that you market, if it is that actual service or a product that can help people with the right intention, and you investing in yourself and that skill set, you're going to be much better off, right? Rather than just tying this back to that opening statement, I feel really overwhelmed right now. And I get it. Me too. I thought I was freaking coming across symptoms this week, and I'm on the couch. I'm like, shit. I'm like, what's going on? And you know what? I was like, maybe so. And I've been preparing for 2 weeks, because I'm a firm believer that most people will get it at some way. If we're looking at what's happening here, 40 to 60% of the population getting it. But yeah, it's like compassion, right? And when you're on the front line and you see people, because I'm starting to see people in my like almost immediate circle who are being impacted by this economically, from their health, emotionally, observe, because you're going to get a lot of insight by having your finger on the pulse with compassion and empathy of life right now. That's it for me, Dan. Because I could go on and on about this. But.
Oh, we know that, mate. We know that from experience, but it's all good. No, your values appreciated, bud. So I tell you what, just off the back of what you shared there, we could probably go through. Yeah, let's go through a live example, right? So if we picture, so let's talk about an avatar of, say, a corporate professional. So we're in as Wolf said, obviously a very uncertain time, and a lot of things have changed for a lot of people in a short amount of time. And when I say changed, I mean what's important. Okay, so if you imagine a corporate professional, what a lot of people or business owners do when they get started is they'll focus on the labels of the avatar. So they'll say, oh, okay, so my avatar is a corporate professional called, I don't know, Simon, who's 45 years old, and he works in, I don't know, he sells project management software, and he's got 2 kids, and he likes playing golf on the weekend, and blah, 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 right? Labels, 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 labels. And what they'll do is they'll say, that's my avatar, and then they'll try and build a business behind that, okay? But the things that motivate an avatar, let's call him Simon, right? So the things that motivate Simon are nothing to do with that he happens to be 45 years old, and nothing to do with that he happens to have 2 kids, that he happens to like playing golf, that he happens to be in a job selling project management software. That's not what motivates him. If you think of yourself, if you think of like in your life, when you wake up in the morning, or when your head hits the pillow at night, the stuff that buzzes around in our minds, right? What is it that keeps us awake? What is it that gives us, if we're not in a good place and we wake up in the morning, what is it that gives us the sinking feeling of another day, going through the motions again? None of the stuff that drives that feeling is because I feel that I can't take on the day because I happen to be 45 and I happen to be a project management salesman. That's not what it is. That the labels are a part of it, but what drives it is what's underneath it. It's the emotion. And that's what we've got to get into when we're getting clear about building a business. Who is our business serving? What is the value that we're giving to the world? We've got to get deeper. And there's an example which I love, and I heard it very recently, and I heard it from Gav McLean, who's on the call right now. He's like, what are you talking about? The whole carrot example. Where did you get that from, or did you come up with it yourself?
That wasn't mine. No, it's Jay Kubasek's at 10 for 10.
Oh, it's Kuba's. Oh, okay, cool.
I did say that.
Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, man. I just, you shouldn't have said anything. I pegged it to you. I was like, oh, Gav McLean, the wizard. He's come up with this brilliant example. But no, basically, the way... I'll tell you what, Gav, rather than me explaining it, do you want to explain what the carrot means just in 30 seconds?
30 seconds, right? You better start timing me.
Okay.
No,
done.
so basically
Okay,
what we're talking about is that in terms of a carrot is when you're focusing on a pain point. So what Jay was saying at 10 for 10 was if you think about when you look at a carrot and it's in the ground, surface area of the carrot is very small, yet it hopefully goes deep into the ground. So the idea of when you're covering a pain point, perhaps when you're speaking to your avatar through an advert or a email or whatever content it is that you cover it for a short period of time, but you hit them really deep and then you move on.
And thank you, Gav. And what we're going to do now is highlight, I'm going to give you 2 examples to really draw attention to where the situation in the world right now has created major shifts in the priorities of everyone, right? And our avatar, of course, is part of everyone. So if you imagine Simon, this corporate professional avatar who's in project management, software sales, and let's imagine 4 to 6 weeks ago, what might have been his pains and problems? Now, for example, it could have been he's unfulfilled in his corporate career, right? Doesn't like doing what he's doing. And the idea of the carrot is you start to dig. What does that mean? Okay, so what does it mean? Like, why is it relevant if he's unfulfilled in his corporate career? Why does it matter? And it could be that, you know, he feels trapped. He wakes up in the morning. He dreads Monday mornings. He has a sense that there must be more to life than this. And you go, well, why? Dig, dig, dig. Why does that matter? Like, what's the relevance of that? Well, because he has a growing fear or gnawing fear that one day soon he'll wake up and he's realised that he's thrown his entire life away doing what society has said he should do instead of what he always wanted to do deep down. All right, why does that matter? Dig, 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 dig. Well, because the thing in his life that's more important to him than anything else is his kids. And if he sets an example to his kids through his actions of not living a truly happy, truly fulfilled and truly abundant life, and they grow up the same, he'll feel that he failed as a father. Right? If you dig, 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 that might be at the absolute core of the thing that is most important to Simon at the moment. Why does it really matter if he stays in his unfulfilling corporate career? And if you can understand and really get into that, if Simon is your avatar and you have a solution to Simon's problem and you understand, like you get that that's the space that he's in, and you're able to speak into that in a way that helps him solve that problem, you're creating something extremely valuable for, in this case, Simon, to improve his life massively. And improve it in the area that is more important to him than anything else, and that's his kid's future. So do you see the difference between that and between saying, Simon's in project management sales and he plays golf at the weekends and he's 45? Who cares, right? So it's that connection, like that's the level of understanding that we can get. Now, here's the point. 4 to 6 weeks ago, that might have been Simon's main driving force behind what he does. It's like the higher level, the purpose. Like I want to do what I enjoy. I want to live more from life. I don't want to be in this unfulfilling career. Now I'm going to show you something here, which many of you, especially you guys in the community, will have seen before. This is Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. I don't know why the image is cut off like that, but bear with me. That says Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs down there. And the whole idea behind this is that as we get higher and higher and higher up the needs, we go from core physiological needs. So you can see here, that's things like air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, basically survival. Right? It's the basic needs we have for survival as a human being. Then above that, we go into safety. So that will be things like employment, our home, health, resources, etc. Financial, wealth. Okay, so that's our security in life. Then we get into love and belonging. That's where we get into connection, friendship, relationships. And then it gets into the level of esteem. So how you see yourself, like your status, your recognition, significance. And a lot of this will overlap with, if you know Tony Robbins' 6 human needs. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap between the 6 human needs of Tony Robbins and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They're 2 different models for showing the same thing, which is what drives our behavior as a human being. And so the relevance is, if we're looking at things through this lens, 4 to 6 weeks ago, Simon, the corporate professional, as an avatar, his needs may have been driven more by the top of the pyramid here. His purpose, his desire to become the most that one can be. Set a great example to his kids, family, love and belonging. Right? Feeling good about himself, feeling fulfilled and happy in his life. He's all up here in the triangle. And now suddenly we've entered this very uncertain time. We've got this event that's happening in the world at the moment, and it's brought a lot of us right back down into these base needs, like safety, security, even physiological food. So the situation right now is completely different than what it was 4 to 6 weeks ago. And the importance of this is that most people or businesses, right, who are either starting out or a lot of existing businesses as well, actually, a lot of traditional businesses, they maybe won't connect with the relevance of how their customers at the moment, what drives them to make decisions, what drives them to take action, the problems that they want to solve are coming from almost a polar opposite place than they were just 4 to 6 weeks ago. And so if businesses are putting the same messages out into the market that they were 4 to 6 weeks ago, they're speaking to people they could not be less concerned now with purpose and self-actualization. Like, that's not what's driving us. I'll take my unfulfilling job any day of the week as long as it helps me pay my mortgage and get through this tough time, right? It's a different level of motivation. And that's why a lot of us in our community at the moment, for you guys and all of us who are already running businesses, you might have had very successful campaigns that were running and were generating good results, good traction. And then suddenly, they just crashed and burned over the last few weeks. And we're like, what's going on? This is what's going on. And then there's other people who are running stuff that maybe wasn't working that well before, and suddenly, vroom, cost per lead goes way down. It starts working brilliantly because you're speaking into a reality that suddenly connects a lot more with a lot more people as these needs have shifted. So let's do a little exercise. Now, we've talked through Simon, the corporate professional, and his needs 4 to 6 weeks ago. But what sort of things, right? And you guys on the panel, feel free to please shout out, share anything that comes to you. What sort of things in Simon's world might be driving him, might he be concerned about today that he wasn't even on his radar 4 to 6 weeks ago?
Dan, that there, mate, just explained everything that's happening with me right now. We chatted last week and, had a big year coming up, had loads of cash to invest, and then literally my work just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Absolutely no work for the next 6 to 8 months, no money, no nothing. So that there, what you just said, so valuable, for writing up another ad script and getting out there, touching on different pain points, because that was just exactly what's just happened to me. And all that stuff at the top, I don't even care about any of that now at all. I'm literally caring about how to pay the mortgage. Do you know what I mean? That's my fear right now. But I just wanted to shout that's definitely spot on, mate.
Got it, mate. No, thank you for sharing that. And that's, so relevant. So if we were taking Simon, the corporate avatar, or Ross McFarlane, paying the mortgage, right? That's now a concern that wasn't even a concern on the radar before, perhaps. It's a great example. Anyone else? Anything else?
Will the industry even be there? Like, how would it sustain? How would it come back? Like, what's the next 12 months like? You know, and I think there's massive uncertainty because it's not even about a job position right now. This is more of like, how will this be impacted in terms of like a global economic recovery? You know, and I think a lot of people aren't connecting these dots. Like, there's a huge mindset where I think people are, you know, and Jay and I spoke about this on our webinar. So it's only 2 weeks. Yeah, we're just gonna, you know, let's quarantine for 2 weeks. This is gonna go on for months. And again, until there's pharmaceutical intervention, we're gonna have this very conscious awareness of how we interact, because that's the only intervention that can work right now until there's another one where it's safe, right? So when you think about that, like, what if you're in the hotel industry, travel industry? I mean, any non-essential business right now in the States, at least, and this is why I hate the news, hate it. But right now it's like, it's important to not take on that negative energy, but be aware of what's happening. Because like, I talked to my friend yesterday who's in real estate. He's not allowed to do business. Then again, he can't pay his mortgage. He called his mortgage company up. He's like, well, what do I do? He's like, I can't work, have to pay my mortgage. What's going to happen? And when you think about this, this is hundreds of millions of people right now where I don't know what I'm going to do for work. I may lose my home. They may have to forfeit retirement just to survive right now. And the future is with massive uncertainty. People are going to have to recreate themselves. And can we really rely, and do we really want to rely on a government bailout? You know, and would the government consider all the threads of society that are going to need help in the way that they're going to need help, and create programs that will actually work? Chances are probably not. Some, but collectively at 100%, no. You know, and I think the more you can help people, don't fear monger, but let's like look at things logically, use history to present this. And when you can create a voice and a belief around this with the right intention and help people to see through the smoke, it's very powerful. But that's what I'm realizing. And you know what, a great way, and I love, Ross, what you just said, you're just like, yeah, look at me. Talk to people. You want to know a good way to understand what's going on right now and a potential avatar or customer, what people are feeling. So you can watch the news, you can get a perspective there. That's a very fact-driven, informational type of understanding. Pick up the phone and call people and understand the emotional side to it as well, right? And that's going to give you like, okay, like I could feel like that energy. I woke up Friday morning, I was heavy because all I was thinking about was everyone in this. I mean, I actually sat in my bed for like 3 hours from 5 in the morning to about 8 in the morning, just thinking about everybody who's impacted, like as many people as I can. I don't know why, but within that, it created this awareness of like, okay, this is a pretty serious event that's going on right now, more than I think we can conceptualize. But yeah, I'll pass that back to you, bud. That's just where my mind went.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's there's so many different angles that we could talk about: the global economic climate, the industry side of things, and so many people will be affected in different industries. And a lot of the time, I mean, a lot of people will certainly relate to the pain of, will my industry even be there? And maybe your avatar is in particular industries, depending on what business you're in or what you do, or maybe your avatar is across multiple industries and is thinking of, let's say, looking at alternatives to generate income, whether it's on online business or Forex or whatever. Like, the point is that the way you connect with that emotion is ultimately what's gonna, drive people's actions. Okay, and it's got to be, again, intention. Like, we've got to be coming from the right place. Service, value, etc. Genuinely trying to help make people's lives better. What other examples, guys? Simon, corporate avatar in his world right now. Can I even pay the mortgage? Will my industry even be there? What else is on his mind right now that, is different from 4 to 6 weeks ago?
There's quite a few things in the chat, Dan. Just to let you know, there's Kelly's saying personal safety. How do I keep my family safe?
Yeah.
Lagovist, how do I put food on the table? Yeah, there's a few more coming in as well.
Do you want to keep, that's useful, do you want to keep reading them out? I'm just making notes on this.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Steve, are we looking at a breakdown of society? Philippa, there's not enough cash to cover everyone. So worried about cash, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a question in Q&A which would be relevant to that as well from Paul. He's just joined SFM. He's just finished module 1 and he's wondering if people will still be able to buy the products, as in affiliate marketing products.
Yeah.
So that's one of his concerns right now.
Got it. Perfect. We can definitely touch on that. Thank you, Alex. And thank you everyone else for sharing that as well. I think I saw Gav and Caroline. Did you both have a perspective?
Yeah, I was just going to say literally the same as what's just been said in terms of like how are they going to be able to provide, and also similar to what Amy just said in the chat, are the knock-on effects on their children?
Yeah,
it's going to be pretty tough on those.
Thank you, mate. Caroline?
Yeah, I was going to say sort of more immediate needs right now. Just talking to lots of friends who've got families, is all stuck in the same house. All on top of each other. He's trying to concentrate on keeping his job going, trying to concentrate on work while he's got his kids running around, trying to work out how to school them or keep them occupied. And they're probably asking him questions about what's happening, Daddy, what's going on? And he doesn't know how to answer them. He's got his own anxieties, and it's how to, to deal with his own emotional and mental needs while having to keep a brave face and set that example for his kids.
Thank you very much. That's I think covers a real broad range of different concerns relating to the situation, and there's probably a whole load more, but that kind of gives us the picture for now, right? Because a lot of those things, putting food on the table, we're looking at a breakdown for society, the knock-on effects of children, how do I school them, keep them occupied, and how do I put on a brave face in this uncertain time? If none of this even existed 4 to 6 weeks ago, this kind of messaging wouldn't have resonated 4 to 6 weeks ago, but now the messaging that did resonate then is not going to resonate now, and this messaging is going to resonate now because it's relevant. And again, we've got to do it in the right way. So let's talk about that a little bit, because often, and I think this is going to be a very unique situation that we're in right now, in that if you are in our community or you're building your own business, maybe you're going through education of some kind to understand and learn this kind of stuff, then before this all kicked off, it was important to really connect with the pains and problems that someone was feeling. And the way that you would do that, again, think of the carrot. You would, through a message, through your ad, you would dig deep and quick and get to the point, highlight the implications of not solving it, and then present the solution. Okay, that's a very simplified way of that process, but that's essentially what it was. Now, the situation that we're in at the moment, I feel we don't need to really, or it wouldn't be suitable to hammer on those pains, because people are so aware of the pains that they're in right now, more so than I think they probably ever have been before. 2008 financial crisis, maybe like there was people that obviously were in extremely difficult times then, could be comparative, but people are well aware of what's on the agenda right now. So straight away, if I was, I'll maybe do an example of this, or try and do an example of this before the end of this webinar, but I would certainly be, let's say, being a lot quicker on touching on those points and moving past it to the positive side a lot faster, because it's not necessary. For example, I might say something like, let me think. See, a lot of my friends at the moment coming from the corporate world have been speaking to me about their concerns of how they're going to look after their kids and, the way the industry's going at the moment. And look, I'm not going to go on about the space of uncertainty that we're in at the moment. We're all well aware of the impact of what's happening. But what I am going to talk about is right. So that might be an example of that's enough. Like you've hit kind of a direction of where you're going. You might allude to the outcome a lot more that somebody could create in their life if they start looking at how to create that, right? And all through the lens of value. But I think there's probably got to be much more of a weight at the moment on the outcome and the positive than necessarily digging into the pain and the negative. And I want to be crystal clear on what I'm saying here. I'm not saying don't necessarily touch it because that's what's going to connect, but I'm saying you don't need to dig to connect to the level that you would have had to before because people are so aware of it. I think this is where, right at the start of this webinar, one of the things that we said was that it's a very fine line right now, right, of how you come across in your messaging. And the fine line is that there is so much emotional charge in these pains for people that I think people's response will be very different than it was before. Wolf, am I hitting this point right, or am I missing the mark a little bit on this? I want to be so intentional with this that we're really getting this across what I'm trying to say properly here. Is that making sense?
Yeah, totally. And I think, look, just the notion that you want to make sure that if you take this type of care and discernment in your messaging, and then you get really to people on this wavelength, even from what happened in 2008, and again, if the problem is if you say that, hey, X is happening and you can do Y, but what you're missing is what's critical. Because, all right, I could speak about all these points about what people feel, right, in the space of what's happening. Now, me personally, would I make an ad that just spoke about keyword and like, what can you do about, everything that's happening, COVID-19 in this world? No, I would not take that approach. Would I have a thread in my messaging about, like, now more than ever, there's an uncertainty and we're all questioning potentially like your livelihood, like your income, your job, and here's how this showed up for me, or here's how it showed up for somebody I was speaking about, and and I reflect on my own journey. I would speak very authentically about the things that really matter, right? And I think that that's my personal methodology, because if I were to go back to 2008, we weren't marketing in a way where it was like, yeah, we had this mortgage meltdown, and right now everyone's going online to do business, and you guys can go on too. It's a perfect time for you to change your life. That was not the messaging. The byproduct was people were looking for other avenues because this was going on here. I just had to be somebody that they found over here and spoke about, the things that are driving us, which, yeah, there's some things that are different as 2-3 months ago that what people are feeling now. But then again, is your messaging really that much different? Because if you're marketing properly, it's kind of the same thing. Threads of it are different, right? And if people are resonating with that, okay, like, I really have to reconsider things, I really have to take a different path, and you're a voice for them, a voice of reason, you're cultivating them with information, with value, with empathy, with, look, it may or may not be the right time for people. You're gonna get everything in the between right now. We're gonna have people who are gonna rise, who are gonna see it more within, and they're gonna like plow forward. And that was me when 2008 happened. What was going on? If I were to go back to what we're kind of doing here and setting the tone, what was my motivation? I was already an entrepreneur, so it wasn't this like, hey, like, you could do things on your own terms and all this. I was already on that bandwagon. But for me, it was, I put my livelihood in the decision making of people in the banking and insurance industry. And when they made poor decisions, it had a negative impact on me where I couldn't do business anymore. And for me, it was the grind, like working in an office, training people who didn't want to be there, being locked down, and I just wasn't passionate about what I did anymore. And all that meltdown led me to this culmination of, what do I really want? And I wanted to build a life that was meaningful to me. The first was getting my lifestyle back, but I didn't want to be chained to an office. I didn't want to be locked down in this space where it was like, oh, I got to work 80 hours a week in an office, trying to motivate people who don't want to be motivated, selling a product that I'm not passionate about. I was like, I want to go on the internet. And I remember walking to my partner's office. I was like, dude, I'm done. I was like, I want to work from home. I don't want to do this, chasing this freaking thing and trying to make money in this space of building a huge office, motivating. I don't care about it anymore. I care about my quality of life. I care about what I'm doing with my time. I care about, is that meaningful to me? And learning the skills where I don't need any of this. That's who I want to be. That's what I want, because, you know, when you lose your security and you think like, I'm working hard, I'm doing everything, it's, you know, there's all these wake up calls. So that was what was going on in my head. Now, if I were to hear somebody communicate that, I would be like, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Because all those things did come up based off of what was happening. But was somebody saying, you know, like, oh, the recession, you're going to, no, it was just the things that are kind of already there. What this is doing is it's pushing them up to the surface, right? And some of them, they were just not even known because industries are being massively disrupted. So again, if you've been getting marketing, right, especially with what Stu and I do at Marketing Mastery, and if you really get those concepts, I think communicate about the things that, and I love, like, you know, we spoke about the Maslows thing as well, but speak about what people really want. Speak about what they want to protect. Don't use this as a way to placate into them, but give them enough information, insight about the world, about themselves, about life, about what's important to them, and even an understanding of how to go create that, right? To me, I think that's the most important thing, because anyone can create this change, right? Do I believe that online business in general will thrive even more from this? I mean, just look at the indicators. What businesses are being impacted the most right now? Literally traditional business, belly to belly type of businesses. Literally, we're being told we cannot connect with people the way that we want to. We're almost removing an essence of humility and humanity from humans, and we're feeling it. Our spirits are feeling it. So does that concept mean that everyone's going to make the change that they want and they're going to, you know, no. But for those who kind of get all the other stuff we're talking about, they will. I don't know if I gave you a clear, direct answer there, because I don't think I rarely ever do that. But I want to tie it into, I just want people to see the bigger picture, because I know as we're all going through this, you know, it's easy to be the victim. It's easy to get into that unease and this fearful side of it. But, you know, at the end, what's going to get us out of this? It's the thought leaders. And that doesn't mean you have to be some futuristic, different. No, it's going to be leading your own thinking to the positive, right? That starts with yourself every day when you wake up, right? That's something I think we're all being challenged with right now. And then, okay, can I use that positivity to impact my life for the better? Maybe a new path. Maybe the one thing that we're all going through is change. And I think you really got to ask yourself, do you want to be subjected to the change without your co-creation and your input, and you're just sitting here waiting? Or do you want to face the change and use it as an opportunity to align to what's really important to you and to go down the path proactively and learn from this and create what you want, and also be an inspiration to others if that's a part of your business as well. And that's a much different mindset than, all right, well, I'm just going to wait. Yeah, I can't do anything. No, I always believe that, yeah, the world kind of came to a pause, but it's not stopping, it's not ending, and in every crisis, economic or societal, it's always ebbs and flowings. The scales are always doing this, right? And if you're always aware of the silver lining, the benefit, that's not a personal gain thing, that's the positivity, that's what's good out of this, the optimist. Focus there, and I promise you, if we had the whole world focusing there, literally the whole world focusing there, we'd be much better off.
Yeah, 100%. And I think one thing that's just come to me there, mate, is if we were going to talk about how to actually anchor that down into something really specific, and again, if this applies whether you're thinking of building a business or you're already building a business, I think the key is if you can show up in this space, as Wolf said, from a place of positivity about like where we want to get to, whether that's you personally or speaking at it from the place of your avatar, which again I'll give you an example of shortly. But if we can come at it from that space, but with a real connection to authentically being open about what it is that we're feeling in this space. I'll give you an example of what I mean, right? Let's imagine you're on YouTube and you see an ad from somebody that's saying, $347,900. That's how much money I don't know why I'm doing an American accent here. I'm sorry. That's how much money I've made from my online business. If you're in a space too where you want to build a business and monetize this opportunity that we're in right now, then click here, click here, click here. Right? Pure ego. No connection with somebody's reality and their fears of what they're experiencing right now. And if you're coming at it from that space, you're entirely in your world. You're not in your customer's world. You're just me. Let me try and push my world onto you to show you why my world is the way that's right. Right? It's self-driven. It's all about me. But instead, if you're willing to step into the space of being open and vulnerable, something like, look, I want to share with you that this has actually been a really difficult time for me, and a lot of my friends even more so who are in the corporate world. And I'll be honest, I am quite fearful about the way things are going. I'm uncertain of what the future's going to look like, and the people that I care about in my life, like, I'm worried about them. I really am, and that's why I do what I do, and that's why it's so important to me to be able to focus my efforts on trying to help people move through this difficult time. And I say this just from my own perspective of seeing what I think people need, what I need to move through this. And that's connection with people, that's community. That's everyone supporting each other in navigating the challenges that we're all facing. And for me, the way that that's looked throughout my certainly the last 3 years of my life, but even more so now, is about learning how to do what learn how to focus on providing value online through online business. And I'm so grateful that I am in a position to be able to work with people who are in this space and focus on providing value for others. Because honestly, if I was in the position a lot of my friends are in, like, I don't need to go on about this. Like, I think for anyone who's in that position, it is scary. But that really, for me, is what drives me. That's why I do what I do. And I want to share with you how that looks. Right? So again, I just made that up off the top of my head. But that's more of a thread of connecting with, like, what's really going on. And if somebody else is in that space, there's relatability there. Someone will relate to that a lot more than, look how much money I've made, you can make this money too. It's a very different energy, very different message. So let me give you, let's have a look. Yeah, let's do a specific example. I'm conscious we've got 26 minutes left maximum. I want to make sure I'm respectful of everyone's time, so we're not going to run past 25 minutes now. But let me give you a specific example. So let's imagine Simon, our corporate professional avatar, is let's say he has started trying to solve the problems of the space that he's in right now with uncertainty about the industry he's in, with uncertainty of how to look after his children, how's he going to put food on the table, are we looking at a breakdown in society, etc., etc. So if I was Simon right now and I want to solve this problem, what would I type? And guys, please feel free to shout out. All right, I'm sitting down at my computer. I've just opened my laptop. What would I type into Google to start trying to solve this problem? I'm unsure about my job. I'm working from home. My boss might be about to lay me off. I don't know what the situation is there. Worried about paying the mortgage. What do I type? Anyone got any ideas? Have we got some stuff in chat?
Yeah, we have Philippa says quick ways to make income from home.
Cool. All right, let's start with that. Thank you, Philippa. Okay, so I'm going to share Google Chrome. Oh, is it sharing? There we are.
Okay, so if I type quick ways to make income from home. Okay. Start a blog or online business, take part in surveys to make an extra $250 a month, 50 legitimate ways to make money from home. Okay, so I might have a look at that. 50 legitimate ways to make money from home. Start a blog, surveys, Amazon gift cards. Yeah, not sure about that. And I'm going to skim through it. Freelancing, what does that look like? Upwork. Okay, maybe let's have a look at Upwork. What happens there? Become a virtual assistant. Yeah. Not sure I want to do that. Rate pizzas? No, not for me. Online travel agent? Well, that's not going to happen at the moment. Associate marketing. Fix Google's mistakes. Pet sitting. Calligraphy. Okay, so a couple of examples that they might look at. Start a blog or online business, maybe. 40 grand a month through my blog. Okay, that's interesting. How does that work? And what's Upwork? Okay, so Upwork, I do project management. Okay, Simon does project management. Are there people on Upwork to do with project management? Okay, $136 an hour, $40 an hour. Maybe I could list my services on Upwork as a project manager, right? Maybe that's a way for me to win clients. So then it could be like, how to list your services on Upwork. How does it work? Post a job, hire, collaborate. All right, let's have a look at their how does it work page. Solve, listing my services. Okay, be a client and a freelancer. 8 tips for the perfect customer profile. So they might start looking at Upwork. And what was the other thing? Income reports. So this was the how to write a blog thing. Okay, fine. So this guy makes money from blogging. So then I might write how to start a blog. Like so. Start your own blog. Create your own blog. And so the point is, as you can really get into the space of like what's actually going through Simon's mind at this point as he's going through this journey. Each of these points in the journey, if you start learning how to build a business, how to market online, how to market on different platforms, whether it's pay-per-click, whether it's SEO, whether it's YouTube marketing, and there's lots and lots and lots of training online. You can just go on YouTube and like you can find training of how to, how to do SEO or how to do pay-per-click and stuff like that. There's platforms like LinkedIn Learning, like our community that we're all in. We've got a training platform that teaches people a lot of different things to do with how to start online businesses, how to market online, and so on and so forth. But the point is that if you're like, okay, well, I really want to do what I can to help people that are in the same position as me. I'm fearful about losing my job. I come from this background. These are some of the concerns that I have. I resonate with this Simon avatar. So I'm going to figure out, and here's how you might do it. You go, I'm going to figure out how to solve my own problems with the intention of then helping other people like me solve their problems as well. And if I'm going through this process as my avatar, and I can recognize that, my avatar will be doing this same thing as me, well, what could I provide at each step of this process to help and provide value to maybe Simon, right? So you might think, if I want to learn to write a blog, because I actually really enjoy writing, and it's something I've always thought of doing, but I've never really had the time, but now I'm at home all the time because I'm in isolation, so I've got time to start looking at writing a blog. Well, great. I'm going to learn how to write a blog, and then I'm going to write a blog about how to start a blog for people that are struggling at the moment in this difficult time. And that will make me feel fantastic because I know I'm doing the right thing for other people in my position, and I'm helping them solve a problem that I know is super important to solve because I feel it too. That's an example of going through the process and being in there with your customer avatar. And you can do this, like most people when they start in business, particularly online business, they tend to target themselves as the avatar first of all, because it's a lot easier to connect with your own reality and what you're feeling than it is to connect with, like me, for example, connecting with, say, a single mum who's struggling to find time to entertain the kids. I don't have kids, and you may be able to notice I'm not a single mum. But as you get better at understanding other people's realities and understanding, well, what must it actually feel like to be in that space, and really trying to get yourself in this space. And I've had calls with, for example, someone on this call, Lucy Goodale. We've spoken about connecting or connecting with an avatar in this space. You know, there's other people, plenty of other people on the call. We've had calls as well about their avatars. And the more that you can just get out your own way and start thinking, well, what would it actually feel like to be in that person's space right now? What would it actually feel like if I was there? If I was going through what they're going through? How would the world look through their eyes right now? And you can start to go, oh, blimey, actually, wow. Like that, okay, I get what they're going through. That must be really difficult. When you're in that space, and then you can understand, okay, so if I was them right now, how would I go? What would I go on Google? Like, what would I type? How to entertain the kids, maybe. What else would I type? Go on that user journey as if you were them in their space, and you can then start to experience, this is how you connect with somebody that's in that space, and this is the backbone for you to then build a business that provides value by helping someone who's in that space solve those problems. But the only way to do it is to get in there with them. So if you ain't in that space, you're speaking out of ego. You're speaking from your own reality. Here, look how successful you could be if you do what I do. Then you wouldn't have the problems that you've got. It's not connecting. Okay. To give you one more example on this, because I just want to, I think it's really important to get this and hammer this home. So I was doing a quick look before, and let's say somebody's watching this and they're like, well, I don't really want to do online business. You know, it's not what interests me. It's not the path that I want to go down. I have always thought of doing maybe Forex, for example. You go, all right, well, if somebody's in that space of thinking about doing Forex, well, how would that look? Let me just share screen again. Where is it? That one there. Okay. So let's say I wanted to start Forex. So it'd be like, for example, if I was typing how to start Forex. Okay. So type how to start Forex. I might look at like how to start trading Forex for beginners. There's going to be a step-by-step guide there. Okay, so first thing, looks like you need to get a broker account with a company. Okay, fine. So then it'll be like how to open a Forex broker account. Okay, open your own brokerage firm. That's not start a brokerage firm. I don't want to do that. I want to open a Forex trading account. That's probably what I meant to type. Okay, so then that's the next step. Now, if you're thinking, again, if you're getting in the space with your avatar, let's say Simon, right, who's suffering with the pains and problems that we've already talked about already, is looking at Forex as a potential solution. If you're thinking, right, I'm in the same position as Simon, I'm thinking of Forex as a potential solution. What about if I figure out how to trade Forex and then help other people like me, like Simon, also figure out how to trade Forex? How would that look? Well, the way that might look is thinking, okay, I can build a resource that's going to help people in this position learn the steps to take. So the first thing is I need to figure out the steps to take, because if I don't know how to do it, then I can't teach someone else to do it, and I can't provide value in that way. So you might think, all right, if I was going to build a resource or a business to help people like me figure out how to do Forex, then what I might do is something like affiliate programs. And I'm just typing, I'm typing this because when you start looking into this, you'll realize that a lot of companies like Forex trading accounts pretty much all have affiliate programs, and an affiliate program means that you can recommend something to somebody and you receive a percentage of the revenue of that sale yourself as the affiliate partner of that business. So an example of how that might look, let's say you recommend a trading platform that costs $1,800, okay? And then let's say you recommend that to Simon, who then buys the Forex trading platform and follows a course that you've created of how to start on and succeed on Forex. And Simon buys the Forex trading platform for $1,800, and you as the affiliate partner of that trading platform might receive, let's say, $600, which would be a fairly typical commission percentage, about 30 to 40%. About $600 of that $1,800 will go to you. Now, Simon doesn't pay any more, like it still costs him what the trading platform costs, but the affiliate program that the trading platform would run would mean that you as the partner would receive a percentage of revenue. So knowing that that's what affiliate marketing is, and knowing that a lot of companies now will do affiliate schemes, and by the way, just for the record, if you're not sure what affiliate marketing is, then Google what is affiliate marketing and how does it work, and then you'll find training on how to do affiliate marketing. And what you can then think is, okay, so if I am finding a good broker account so that I can start trading Forex, so that I can solve my problems, and then I can recommend a broker account to other people like me as an affiliate and generate revenue and scale my business to then help more and more and more people solve these problems over time, how might that look? And so if you type Forex broker affiliate programs, you'll notice that a lot of companies, right, will have different commission schemes for affiliates on their programs. And after, I'm not going to go through this in detail now, but if you click like into each one and have a look and see what their affiliate programs are like, what you're looking for is a company that is highly recommended that you yourself are going to go and start with, that also has a good affiliate program backing it up. Because the number one rule of starting an affiliate business, again, goes back to intention. If your intention is to provide value and help someone, the one thing you must know is, will this help them solve their pains and problems? And the only way to find that out is by investigating yourself, like, is this going to help solve the pain or problem that you want to help somebody solve? And so when we mentioned at the start of this webinar, how do you start if you don't have your own products and services? Well, this is an example of like not having your own product or service, and then going, okay, well, I'm going to figure out how to write a blog that helps people who are experiencing the pains and problems that I'm experiencing, Simon being one of them. And from that blog, I'm going to recommend people a step-by-step process on how to start trading Forex, and I'm going to point them to the Forex trading platforms that I've already researched is the best in the market for them. It's going to give them everything they need. I'm going to point them to that. I'm then going to point them to a course that's going to teach them how to do it that I've already researched is the best in the market. And from that blog that you're building to help people and provide value, you are sharing something that is of genuine value to other people who are in your position. And from that, you can start to build a business. And obviously, if you're then building a business, again, with the intention of impacting more and more people as you scale, you can then start to look at other areas that you can provide value. Okay? So if you were to, I did actually have with this Forex example, I'm just going to tie it down to kind of show you how you could get down here. So if I type Forex broker affiliate programs, you might then start to type like how to trade Forex affiliate course programs. And then you type maybe things like what is the best Forex course. And then if I type, I'll kind of give you this example because I did look at this earlier. Say I type like what is the best Forex course, then you get straight away 9 best Forex courses. And then what you want to do is Google each individual course. And then, for example, go down here. So if I just take this top one, second skies trading. If I just Google second skies trading affiliate program like that. Okay, there you go. Second skies Forex affiliate sign up. So they've got an affiliate program. So that would be an example of how you could become a partner with this company. If you're writing a blog to recommend people start with this company because you've gone through their stuff and you're like, this is the best one. This is awesome. It's really helped me, solve this problem in my life. That'll be just a quick example of how to find an affiliate partnership in that industry. Hope that example makes sense. Obviously, I'm not in Forex, so I don't know the industry, and I haven't done any research like you yourself would at least probably do, I don't know, a day or two's research to understand, is this the solution to your problems before going down this route? But that's how you can start thinking about, well, how could I solve someone's problems at the moment? So, let me think. 9 minutes left. Alex, have any specific questions come up about what we've been talking about here?
No, the only one, I'm not sure if you really answered it because I was maybe replying to other questions at the time. It's just the one from Paul that's still
yes.
Q&A. Maybe address.
Perfect. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so what we'll do then, we'll just address that question. Sorry, say again?
I was just going to say I also have to jump off in 3 minutes just to remind you.
Yeah, no worries.
We will wrap in approximately 3 minutes then. Paul, I'm just going to cover your question because it was a great question. And then we will tie things up. But hopefully for everybody on the call, this has been valuable to just help connect with the reality of, where people are at right now and show up from a place of, the right intention and wanting to deliver value and how to come across in a way that is not, from ego and putting the wrong message out there, and instead coming at a place of genuine understanding for what somebody's going through right now and how to help them solve those problems. So Paul's question was, my concern is, will people still be able to buy products as in affiliate marketing? They also really want to help eventually with health and life coaching, which is really helping people. Just completed module 1 of SFM, so you know where I am. Awesome, mate. Okay, brilliant. So let's talk about the affordability for people buying health and life coaching products. So if that's the route that you want to go down, let's imagine that you haven't necessarily developed your own product, but you're an affiliate for a health and life coaching company. Right? You've done your research, you know the market, you know the industry, you've found a really good company to align yourself with, and you're now building a business that the backbone of which is to recommend their products and services as a way to help solve people's problems in that area. Problems in that area might be, for example, take home workouts, right? People that were in the gym that are no longer in the gym, how do they find the right home workout for them? Because they'll find tons and tons of home workouts online, but maybe before, where they had their PT in the gym to give them a specific training plan, now they don't have that. And so they're back to square one of I don't just want to Google search any old workout because I want something that's relevant to my goals and what I want to achieve, but I don't know how that's going to look without gym equipment, without being on the bench press, without doing this, doing that, deadlifts, whatever. I can't do that stuff anymore. Maybe that's the route that you go down. Now, in terms of affordability, yes, there are going to be some people in the market that are no longer able to afford things that they could afford before. There are also going to be other people in the market where now they weren't actually that fussed on this, but now but now it's extremely relevant and they have money, Like, they have money spare. And so the point is that you've got to be very specific about who it is that you're speaking to. Now, on one hand, you might think, let me really just anchor this down with a final example. By the way, Alex, if you need to run, that's fine. I can tie things up. Thank you very much for your help. I appreciate it. So to anchor this down with a really specific example. In marketing, if we market to everyone, we market to no one. And what I mean by that is, if you imagine, and some of you might have heard this before, but if you imagine that you own a business, right? And let's imagine that your pipes upstairs in your office have just burst. There's water pouring through the ceiling. All of the electronics are getting soaked. It's a nightmare. Like, you need to sort this now. It's an absolute pressing problem. And you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do? And you go on Google and you type in emergency plumbing repairs in Watford, because that's where you're based. Goodness knows why. But let's say you're in Watford. Sorry if you're from Watford. Now, if in the search results that come up, if you have one result that says, hi, I'm Joe Bloggs, general handyman. I can do your fence, I can do your driveway, I can help you with electrics, I can help you with carpentry, plumbing, whatever you need, give me a call, I'll come and sort you out. And then you have another result just below that says, corporate emergency plumbing repair specialists. We are the Watford leaders in emergency plumbing repairs. We specialise in intensive emergency situations. This is what we do. Call us now for emergency repairs, fastest response time in the area. Who are you going to call? Apart from Joe Bloggs. Joe Bloggs? Apart from Ghostbusters. Where did that come from? Apart from Ghostbusters. That's what I meant to say. Who are you going to call? You're going to call the second option, obviously, right? You're not going to call Joe Bloggs because he's not a specialist in that area. You want a specialist who is going to help you solve a very immediate problem that you have. You want someone who's the best at solving that problem. And so with that in mind, if you imagine, the people that you're speaking to in your business, they have a very specific problem that they want to solve, and you've got to get very specifically clear about who it is that you're solving that problem for. Now, here's the thing. There are going to be people who, with the current situation, would no longer prioritize spending money on something like that because they're very short of money, right? A lot of people will be in this situation, and what money they do have is going to go on things like food instead. Maybe that's not your target market for this product. But you might also say, but I want to help those people. Those are the people that I really want to have an impact on because they need it more than anything. Okay, brilliant. Well, in that case, if you can build a business that targets the wealthier people that can afford it, and then you have a not-for-profit behind it where you do free resources and free training and you share that out with the vulnerable who need it the most. Because let me just put it like this. Do you think that you could impact more people who you want to impact? Do you think you could positively impact the world if you're worried about paying the mortgage yourself, if you're struggling in this uncertain time, and if you're targeting people with no real money that's not going to give any revenue into your business and therefore is going to keep you stuck in that position where you can't really do anything because you're yourself struggling to cope? Or do you think you'd be better placed to help people if you had 100 grand in the bank, your mortgage is covered, your bills are covered, the business is driving revenue, you're scaling, you've got a team that you've started to employ to help you impact more people, and then you've got 100 grand to put into resources to help people that you really want to help, right? The people who are struggling. Quite clearly, you can have much more of an impact in the world if you have got resource behind you to fuel that impact. Revenue is a tool to create impact. And again, if you focus on value, like if your whole thing is the backbone of my business is helping people, right? I want to help everyone. If they've got money, I do high level courses to really help them achieve their goals, to hone into a whole nother level than they ever did with PT sessions in the gym through online, because we can do more sessions, more tailored sessions, whatever, like however you structure your process. That might then drive the revenue in the business through value, so that your high level clients are like, this is brilliant. He's helped me solve my problems more than my PT ever did. this has actually put me in a stronger position than I was when I was in the gym. I didn't know you could get so fit from calisthenics home workouts, but he's shown me how. And then you've got the revenue to support the people who are really struggling and who just want a course to follow that you pre-recorded, and then you just dish out far and wide as a free training on YouTube. All value. And you're speaking to different avatars that have different needs at the moment. And that all comes from getting clear about who you want to help and how you're going to help them. Because think of it again, if there's no value and you're just like, I just want to help myself right now, I just want to pay my mortgage, and you just put out some general course online that speaks to nobody because you're not really sure who you're speaking to because you're in your own head, nobody's going to buy it because they can't afford it, and none of the high level guys are going to buy it because it's not specifically tailored to what they're looking for. You market to everyone, you market to no one, and you stay in your position where you're having no impact and you're stuck. So this is why value is key. As soon as we can get out of our own space and get into understanding how can I help other people, we'll get everything we want in return. Hopefully that makes sense. We are at the bottom of the hour. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for being here. Danny Ham, you as well, my friend. Thank you for being here. If I'm going to put the replay for this live and email it out, plus put it through Facebook. So if you got an email from me to get on this webinar, or if you're watching the replay, you'll see some resources just down below. But either way, I'm going to share with you a custom avatar worksheet created by Gav McLean, who you've heard from on the call. Thank you, Gav, for doing that. We're going to share that with you so that you are able to really hone in on who it is that you want to support and help. And as I say, whether you have a business or don't have a business at the moment, if you can get this part right, then the how, like how do I build a business? How do I market online? How do I do this? How do I do that? Those are the kind of things that you can Google search to find the answer to. That's not what's stopping you. If you get clear about who you're helping, you'll be plain sailing. When I say plain sailing, there's still going to be challenges, but you'll be able to overcome them because you have a why that's big enough. Anyway, that being said, I'm done. Appreciate you guys. Have an awesome, awesome week. Stay positive, focus on others, focus on value, and everyone is going to be a lot better off because of that intention. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye for now.